live and just giving everybody a little bit of time to come in across all the different platforms. Plenty of stuff to talk about tonight. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you are, whatever you are doing. Orion Khan, welcome over on Periscope. Glad to have you. Mean, hello. Jonathan, glad to have you, man. Steve, glad that you can catch us live. Boulder, Colorado, and I was going to say Boulder, North Carolina. I might be tired. The Identity Booth, what up, fam? Awesome. Jennifer says she finally got a notification. Make sure you cut on your notifications so you can always know when we go live. It's always in the evening at some point, at some time. But here we go. Birmingham, Alabama, the dirty South. I was born in Selma, Alabama. Georgia Breeze says she's been finding the content very interesting. Salute, solidarity. Nash over on Facebook, good to see you. Solidarity from Portland, Oregon. It's love. Let me go ahead and share my own content. Everybody pause for a second before we get started and share wherever you share. If you're on Facebook, go ahead and share there. We're going to deal with Donald Trump. As always, we start with the politics, and from there we expand out to the deeper meanings of the stories. We never just stay in politics because, as the title suggests, I firmly believe that American politics is infinitely petty, just small, narrow-minded. It doesn't have the scope that's necessary for even our own survival. So that's why I don't like to just stay on the politics, but we have to start with what we're dealing with, right? Even though it's small and it's petty and it's ridiculous, it is very important for us to deal with it. That's the irony. Like, I think our politics are insufficient to address the issues of our day. And that's why we have to talk about it, if that makes sense. You got to be careful to not overlook the importance of the stories, even if the overall picture is really, really ludicrous. Arkansas is in the house. Jonathan Hawkins said he saw the report on the COVID parade. I'm going to play the clip of the COVID parade. That's what we're going to start with. And then we'll go from there. So let's do that. Let's start with the clip of Donald Trump and his COVID parade. And that's what we're calling it. I also want to play a clip of one of his supporters. It's really kind of disturbing. I want to show you how we exist in two totally different worlds when it comes to how we perceive reality between us and Donald Trump supporters. It is disturbing, to say the least. I'm not going to start there. I'm going to start with, let's see. Trump going to visit the people outside of Walter Reed. This is the president of the United States, who, mind you, is struggling with COVID-19, right? And this is the president of the United States who, mind you, I think I'm gonna have to pull it from another location. You guys bear with me. I'm gonna have to pull it off my phone because that's where I have it. Who is in a hermetically sealed vehicle with Secret Service agents. If this is even him, because I think it's sincerely possible that this is them playing a game with us. But here we go. All right, here it is. I have it up on my phone. I want to bring it up. This is from Caitlin Collins from CNN. Let's take a listen and take a watch. This is the president of the United States doing his COVID tour at Walter Reed.
You guys, I've been just
an opportunity for mischief for someone like Iran or North Korea, both of whom feel they have scores to settle, and would look upon this ambiguous time as
you guys, I've been just
let me know if you can hear that audio. I want to make sure that you
know,
can.
someone like Iran or
The
North
audio is
Korea,
not as
both of whom
important
feel they have scores to
as
settle, and would look upon this
I'm going to cut the audio
ambiguous
down just in
time
case.
Hey,
It's
you
not as
guys, I'm
important.
gonna
What's
just
important
an
is
opportunity for
that you see that
mischief
the president of the United States
for,
is
you know,
putting the
someone like
lives
Iran or
of
North
Secret Service agents at risk. Those vehicles are hermetically sealed to prevent gas attacks. They're not only bulletproof, but they're completely sealed off. The only air supply that's in that vehicle is the air supply that's inside of the vehicle. There's no external air that gets in. That said, there's no fresh air that can come and dilute it. And so you have the picture, I'm going to bring up an image of the president of the United States, really just quite unnecessarily so, right? There's no part of this that is necessary to put someone's life in danger. Now, I am curious to see, I put an image on your screen, there's a president. I am curious to see if you all believe that this is really him. Because I'll play the clip from earlier that I played, but here is an extended version of what happened.
An opportunity for mischief for, you know, someone like
hang on one
Iran or
second.
North Korea,
Let's
both
do
of whom
this.
feel they have scores.
Let's do this. Sorry about it. I need to move this. I need to take that off. And now I'm going to drop it here. There you go.
An opportunity for mischief for, you know, someone like Iran or North Korea, both of whom feel they have scores to settle,
And there he
would
is.
look upon
So
this
my concern,
ambiguous
I'm going to pause it. My concern is for the soldiers that are the Secret Servant agents that are there being forced to entertain his childishness. There's nothing beneficial about this. Now, if you missed it earlier, I want to play his rationale and his reasoning behind doing this. This is what he said at Walter Reed. Many of you were with me on the earlier stream, but for those who were not, I want you to see this is how he announced that he was going to do this.
We're getting great reports from the doctors. This is an incredible hospital, Walter Reed. The work they do is just absolutely amazing, and I want to thank them all. The nurses, the doctors, everybody here. I've also gotten to meet some of the soldiers and the first responders, and what a group. I also think we're going to pay a little surprise to some of the great patriots that we have out on the street, and they've been out there for a long time, and they've got Trump flags, and they love our country. So I'm not telling anybody but you, but I'm about to make a little surprise visit. So perhaps I'll get there before you get to see me. But I just, when I look at the enthusiasm, and we have enthusiasm like probably nobody's ever had. Our people that love the job we're doing, we have more enthusiasm than maybe anybody. So it's been a very interesting journey. I learned a lot about COVID. I learned it by really going to school. This is the real school. This isn't the let's read the book school. And I get it, and I understand it, and it's a very interesting thing, and I'm going to be letting you know about it. In the meantime, we love the USA, and we love what's happening. Thank you.
All right, so that was from earlier today. Both of those clips, questions in the chat room, when was that from? Both of those are from today. Now, there was the attending physician at Walter Reed Hospital who had a serious problem with what the president did. That leads me to believe that perhaps that really was the president and not a body stand-in. Let me make sure I got the right image. Is this him? Yes. This is Dr. James Phillips, MD. He took to Twitter, and this is what he said. He said, that presidential SUV is not only bulletproof, but hermetically sealed against chemical attack. The risk of COVID-19 transmission inside is high as it gets outside of medical procedures. The irresponsibility is outstanding. My thoughts are with the Secret Service forced to play. And this is James Phillips, Dr. James Phillips, who's an attending physician at Walter Reed Hospital. So the president of the United States is just completely ass backwards, asinine. It is absolutely ridiculous. It's also ridiculous that this is what our American politics has come down to. Now, I'm gonna hold off on the philosophical musings because I want to answer your questions and get you involved in the conversation. But it really is, we really are having to decide between whether or not it's a ploy, a game, because we all know he is sociopath enough to do that. Or is it that he's really sick and he's so ridiculous that he's put the lives of his Secret Service agents, plural, at risk for a stunt, for a photo op? Now, remember the last time he did a photo op, what he did? What did he do? He cleared out the square right outside the White House, and in front of that church, he used flashbangs, and he had the military go in and clear out that area so that he could go and do a photo op. So this is not the first time that he's done something extremely asinine in order to get the perfect photo op, right? So it's totally possible that he would put his Secret Service agents at risk for no reason other than a photo op. Let's get some of your comments on the screen. Sonny says he doesn't care about either. He has no feelings. That's a sociopath, has no empathy, no feeling whatsoever for the people that he puts at risk. Wayne believes that this is just another Trump game. This is all a hoax. He never had COVID. I kind of believe I don't know where I fall on that. I don't really know. Is this thing still? Can you guys still see this little? Okay, it's on my screen. It's not on your screen. It looks like the tweet is still up. Sorry. He's a sociopath enough to play that game. And the truth is, the dangerous thing about this is the fact that people in power really can't know what to really do because they can't trust what comes out of the White House. They have to look at everything that is told to them through the White House through the lens of it's possible that he's lying. Pinkerbell Pixie says, my shirt looks really good with the background. Thank you. Let's get down. Let me catch up. There's some super chats. I am going to catch up with the super chats. Don't worry. I'll definitely get them. I like this comment on Vision on YouTube. He said, let's get 600 likes, y'all. Let me log in on YouTube. I'm logged in through my backup, my system that I run everything through. But I would like to see what we have on YouTube versus like on Facebook. Let's see who's doing it. Who's doing it the hardest tonight? Is it YouTube or Facebook? Twitch, I'll leave y'all Twitch. We're building Twitch. It's brand new. You know what I mean? I love everybody on Twitch. I think eventually Twitch will end up having like 10,000 people watching live because Twitch has such a thriving community, but I'm only 3 weeks in on Twitch. So I'm not going to put the pressure on you guys for tonight. But we have 692 people watching on YouTube, and on Facebook, we have, give me 2 seconds. It's probably the vast. Oh, I do have to check Twitter because Twitter be bringing that heat. Twitter has, we have 778. It's about in parity. That means the difference is going to be over there on Twitter. Let's see what Twitter is doing. Let's go to Twitter and see how many folks we have live on the Twitters. And on Twitter, we have 158. Cool Twitter. Twitter's a little more fast paced. You gotta go live for like 30 seconds on Twitter to have a full house. So that's it. Let's get your comments on the screen. This is what bothers me, Melinda Ann Anderson. Thank you. Thank you for sharing this because I almost forgot to talk about it. Conway's daughter, Kellyanne Conway's daughter, now has COVID. And here's the thing, folks. There's a lot of misinformation out there about how it's not that bad for young people. But there have been young people who have died because of COVID-19. Last night in the chat room, one of you told us that you work inside of an administration building at a university, and you've seen like just a long succession of students who have dropped out or left school unenrolled because they are having neurological problems because of COVID-19, right? So the impact goes far beyond just the respiratory illness that really is the illness that takes out most people is the respiratory illness. But even people with asymptomatic experiences are later on having cardiovascular distress, heart attacks, strokes, neurological disorders. It is very It's horrible what they're just exposing their families to, all for the sake of ridiculous, petty politics. Let's get a couple of I'm going to read some of the super chats. Just so everybody knows, over on Facebook and Twitter, super chats are chats over. Somebody asked last night and I forgot to tell you what it is. Super chats are just chats that you share on YouTube that, you make a donation or however much, and it goes to the top and we're able to see it for a lot longer than a regular chat. That's why they're called super chats. So let's take a look at the super chats. And while I do that, I want everyone to subscribe wherever you are, like, share, and subscribe. Micah Gelfand, thank you for the super chat. He said, Ben is always up, apparently. Keep the live streams and keep up the live streams and the good work, man. Thank you. I will. Some that I missed from last night. Jason Edwards, thank you for the 2 super chats from last night. Benny Loco, thank you for the super chat from last night. Madonna 816, thank you for the super chat on last night. Country Cross Stitcher, thank you for the super chat from Australia. Today has been definitely insane. Thinking, quote, Trump can't get worse than this. And the same as ER doctors or cops saying is the same as ER doctors or cops saying quiet night, isn't it? It's just, if we don't ever want to say that because we know what comes afterwards. And then they said, stay strong. So thank you for that. Elliot Void, thank you for the super chat. And Levin Lee says, sent a super chat to say that YouTube, they're the boss out here. They're going to get more shares. So everybody, let's see if it's YouTube or Facebook. Obviously, this is a this is like a self-promotion. I'm pitting YouTube versus Facebook to see who can get the most. You guys know what's up. No need to even tell you. You already know. Nixa Paige Jackson said, how many people believe that Trump's diagnosis is a hoax? All right, let's do that question. We did it last night, and we have new information today. I want to know if your opinions have changed. Do you believe now that he's sick, or is it a hoax? Last night we said sick or not. I want to see, is it sick or a hoax? Fill up the comment section. Let me see what you think. And then I'll tell you what I think at the end. Let me get this one on the screen from Scott Towles. Watching on YouTube and Twitch. Love you, Ben. Love you more, Scott. Thank you so much for giving me 2 views simultaneously. I love it. The other thing while you talk about it is the thing that threw me off today, quite a few sicks. Most people are saying sick so far. I want to read this super chat and bring this particular one on the screen as soon as it loads up in my system. I wonder if the system is crashing because we have so many comments. I think it's probably hard to keep up. You guys are doing, but don't slow down in your comments. Lee Levin said they're not watching college football this year because the college football exploiters are risking students' lives. Absolutely. I also want to bring up, while you guys leave your comments, and again, I'll give you my thoughts on it. I want to bring up a tweet that we talked about earlier. This is from Craig Spencer, MD. And dexamethasone is the medicine that the doctors said they are giving Donald Trump. So I'm going to bring up 2 different tweets. The first one is from Dr. Craig Spencer, MD. He said, dexamethasone was found to be beneficial only in patients on a ventilator or on oxygen, not on patients who don't need oxygen. There was even the possibility of harm in that patient population. And basically, it's if you are not on oxygen and you are taking dexamethasone, I had to stop to make sure I said it right, then it's a possibility that you could harm yourself even more. So by them saying that he is taking dexamethasone, that suggests that his situation is far more serious, which makes us ask the question, is he that sociopathic that he is this sick and he's putting everybody at risk by going on this parade, risking himself? Or, and this is not far-fetched at all, We've known since Ronald Reagan that most presidents have body doubles. Was this a body double in the car? Why does it matter? Nobody asked that. I'm just asking myself, why does it matter? It matters because if he's not sick, then he's playing a sick game on America with a very nefarious agenda. That's the thing. If he's not sick, he's playing a dangerous game of making it seem as though Americans need to be tough like their president and just confront the virus. He is going to have, if he is not sick, the president of the even if he is sick and he comes out of this, he's going to play it in a manner that's going to encourage his supporters to go out and just take on the virus. They're going to have COVID parties. People are going to start spreading the sickness amongst themselves. And what they're trying to do, as we stated on the show many times, they are honestly trying to spread herd immunity, which comes at a very high cost. The cost in terms of human lives is upwards of 1 million lives, 1 million American lives, for us to get herd immunity. So if he's not sick, it is a very dangerous game. If he is sick and he's on this dexamethasone, which means he's on some supplemental oxygen, then that means that the president of the United States is probably incapacitated. And the people around him are trying to protect his power, his political power, which he's not able to execute. So either way it goes, this is a very dangerous game that Donald Trump or his team is playing on the American people. And this is a great point. Panhandle Messiah. That's if herd immunity exists. We still don't know enough about this virus for us to know if herd immunity is a dangerous yet meaningful endeavor, meaning that we could just get herd immunity, but we would lose 1 million lives, or are we just throwing away 1 million lives and we still won't have immunity to it? Black Sky Blue Days says, I hope that the Neon Films adds this part into the film like an addendum. Yeah, because we're going to the height of absurdity. We're going to the height of absurdity. Brandon over on YouTube said, have you noticed that all of Trump's videos look like they were taken in the White House, even though he's supposed to be in the hospital? Well, to be sure, Walter Reed is set up. Walter Reed is set up. It's an entire floor that's reserved for the president that includes dining facilities, meeting rooms, a situation room in case there's some kind of situation. So I don't doubt that the videos were taken at Walter Reed. What I have to take in consideration, because of how sociopathic the president and his team is that they took these videos before he was incapacitated. Sean Berry said he's not taking nothing. He's just trying to play the whole get medicine and vaccine mess. Just reading some more of your questions. What I want to do is, let me give a few shout outs real quick over on Twitch. Can't leave all of our wonderful people on Twitch out. We've got new subscribers on Twitch. Triple Optics subscribed on Prime. Abzin is Necra subscribed on Twitch with Prime. Pinker Bell Pixie subscribed for a month at tier 1. And the Andy Capon subscribed with Prime. Now, if you don't know what I'm saying, it's because it's relevant to Twitch. Honestly, I don't even know what I'm saying. I'm so new to Twitch, honestly. I'm starting to get it. But what I do know for sure is that if you want to support the program and you don't want to come out of pocket, the easiest way that you can support me for free is by using your Amazon Prime account on Twitch. Twitch is owned by Amazon. As much as I hate Amazon, it's a great platform for content creators. And what they've done is they said, if you want to support a content creator, subscribe with your Prime account. It costs you nothing. They take $5 out of your already what you pay in your Prime subscription, so there's nothing comes out of your pocket, and they send that to me. So you can go subscribe with Prime. Purple Sunshine just subscribed 2 minutes ago as I was running my mouth. Thank you, Purple Sunshine 7, for becoming a Prime member. John Porter says, thank you for the super chat. He says Trump's doctor lied about him being on oxygen. The Duchess JC says karma. Sahil M. Sahil, I'm not going to do that to your last name. If Trump actually dies from this, his supporters are going to weave some BS that'll make the Elvis and Tupac conspiracy seem like science. My money is on he's alive and being held hostage by Antifa. That's a good one. C3339409 says, I love you saying ignorance has consequences. It does. And the reason I'm inclined to believe that he has it is because they stared in the face of coronavirus and thought that they were invincible. And COVID was like, how, Soy? Rayla's mom on YouTube says, whether you like Michael Cohen or not, in his book, he said Trump would do anything to win. Paying it forward to you, Benjamin. Keep up the good work. Thanks so much, Rayla's. I definitely appreciate the support. Infinite content is always coming through with the support. Ben, you know how many seniors I see asking for DXM or HCQ. HCQ is going to be hydroxychloroquine, and I'm guessing DXM is dexamethasone. Okay, I had to look it up again. Taking away supply from lupus patients. How many nurses and CNAs I see coming in weary? See, I don't know I don't know what else dexamethasone is used for, but I do know hydroxychloroquine is used for lupus patients, and they did have a shortage already because of the rush on it. And I don't know why doctors would have prescribed it. But because Donald Trump was really pushing it. No, it wasn't that doctors were prescribing it. It was that Donald Trump had the government buy up an entire supply of hydroxychloroquine. I had to remember that. Let's see. We have another Abzon is Necra. Thank you for subscribing with Prime. I want to make sure. I feel like I might have said that. If not, I want to make sure I say it. No troll comments so far. We have Anastasia Rose cheering. Thank you for the 10 bits. Spicy Children cheered with 50 bits. Thank you. And Smack Talk just gifted a 1-month tier to Maudie Mouse. Thank you. Anastasia Rose said is gifting 1 tier sub to the community, and it is going to Monduke 212. So thank you for that gift sub. All right, I want to play this clip that is you probably, if you on YouTube and Facebook, you probably have seen this already. That said, it's worth seeing again because this is hang on. Guys, I got noise coming from somewhere, and it's throwing me off. Where is this audio coming from? Let's see. Okay, let me just take it out of my ear until I find it. I'm going to play the audio of this Trump supporter. C-SPAN captured this audio of a Trump supporter that is very, very terrifying. And I want you to hear it. I can't even describe it. Just listen to this. Okay, so apparently that's the wrong audio. I have it labeled incorrectly. The audio that I'm looking for is, well, you'll know it when you hear it. It is a supporter of Donald Trump who is basically saying he's willing to die for the president and willing to, sounds like, kill for the president. And this is terrifying for obvious reasons, but it's not just this one guy. I'm pulling up from a different source. It's not just one guy. And it is a cult. It is an overall cult that is festering all around us. It is a level of political derangement. I'm trying to be careful with my words because I don't want to use words that suggest that it's mental illness. It is political obsession is what it is. And so I'm pulling it up from a different source. So bear with me. Let's switch this over. I want to get rid of this clip. Come back to me, and I want to bring up my iPhone. I just had to bring it up from a different source. Let's take a listen. Here you go.
God bless our president. I will die for him. I will die for that man, happily. I will die for him. Anybody want to mess with him, you mess with me first. He is a hero, that man. Look at it. There's Gatling guns in here, missile launchers. God bless America. God bless you guys. God bless. God bless the police. God bless you guys. God bless. Thank you for your service. Thank you. That was the greatest. He passed right by you folks. He passed right there. He was there. I swear to you guys. Right there. God bless our president. I will die for him. I will die for that man, happily. I will die for him.
I want you to hear it again.
Mess with him, you mess with me first. He is a hero, that man. Look at it. There's Gatling guns in here, missile launchers. God bless America. God bless you guys. God bless. God bless the police. God bless you guys.
Okay, sorry to make you endure twice. Sorry to make you have to endure that twice. But you understand why I had to make sure you heard it. These... Actually, I'm going to make it worse. I'm not even going to stop there. I'm going to paint the picture even more. Jamel Bowie from the New York Times. He did something to me that made me want to unfollow him. He went over to Make America Great Again Twitter, and he decided to share it with us. So he says, sometimes I dip into Make America Great Again Twitter just to see what's up. And here's what's up. This is what they're saying. People rarely think about Donald Trump as the person, the guy who must sit there alone some nights and wonder, WTF did I get myself into? Then he remembers. That's the source of his strength. I firmly believe he got into it for us, for this country, and I'll forever be indebted to him. Yeah. You know what? I got nothing. Let me put your comments up. That's as good a reply as any, Lisa. This is a good reply. This is a great reply from Angela Griffin saying this is cult. This is cult stuff. Mystic Kool-Aid. These are the appropriate replies. Stephanie, that's an appropriate reply. Fifi LaRue, that's an appropriate reply. And I'm laughing. Here we go. I got a couple. Nerdy Gamer. I lost your comment, Curdy. But it is absolutely a cult mentality. It is out of control. Y'all want to see it again? I told Jamel that I'm going to unfollow him. I'm going to block him and I'm going to report his account. So I guess if I play this again, you guys got to all block me too. But I'm going to read this again. People rarely think about Donald Trump as the person. The guy must sit there alone some nights and wonder, what the F did I get myself into? Then he remembers. That's his source of strength, I firmly believe. He got into it for us, for this country, and I'll forever be indebted to him. I just lost 100 people. 100 people just dropped off the street. Okay, let me take this down. I'm sorry. We're going to laugh first, but then I got to break this down. Because we can't stop at just laughing at it. I want you to pause and think, how can their side be so confident that they are right when we can see how clearly wrong they are? And don't stop the analysis there, right? Because they look at us the same way we look at them. And they're wondering, how can their side be so confident in how wrong we are? It's the classic. There's a Star Trek episode. There's a Star Trek in the original series and then Star Trek The Next Generation series, and they both deal with the same topic. And I'm going to give it to you to demonstrate, to paint a picture, but then I need to tell you why this picture that I'm painting is wrong. All right, so I'm going to paint a picture, but then I'm going to reject that picture. Outside observers would look at us and say that their side looks at us the same way we look at them, and we're all wrong. That all we have to do, our opposing sides need to just sit down at the table together and negotiate. In the original series, there was, and I'm pretty sure I'm remembering correctly, there was a group of people who it definitely was Star Trek. And basically the only difference between the feuding factions on a planet was one of them had black and white, the other side had white and black in terms of what distinguished them from each other. The only thing that distinguished them from each other was that their colors were inverted, but they both had white, they both had black. Somebody in the audience can correct me on the episode if I'm getting it wrong, but that's pretty much the gist of it. On the next Star Trek, The Next Generation, they had another episode where Captain Picard and Dr. Crusher got stranded on a planet that was very similar with two feuding factions, and the differences between them were basically indistinguishable from an outside observer. Now, I'm painting the picture of this general idea that tries to present itself in our popular culture as well as in our American politics, that we are all basically being irrational with each other, and neither side is right, but neither side is completely wrong. And if we all just sit down at the table together, then and dispense with our radicalism, then we can find something in the middle, what we would consider to be bipartisanship. Here's why that is wrong. I don't care how confident they are that they are right. It does not make them right. Because we can clearly see that putting your Secret Service agents at risk for a stunt is morally reprehensible. Knowing that you have COVID-19, but going to a Republican fundraiser and exposing your staff and your donors is morally reprehensible. Not telling the Biden campaign that you tested positive for COVID-19 immediately upon finding out when you just stood on stage with him for an hour and a half is morally reprehensible. Okay, that's just with this. Overseeing forced hysterectomies of immigrants is morally reprehensible. What I'm saying, and I'm going to keep building the case, but just to give you the punchline, I don't care how much they try to draw an equivalence between us and them and their side, wondering how could Ben Dixon be so wrong? How could he not see how glorious and how wonderful and how noble and how worthy Donald Trump is? That's because my wires of morality are not crossed. And I can see that sending federal agents to execute a man in broad daylight and then bragging about it on Fox News and on the news in general 3 different times is morally reprehensible. I can see it is morally wrong and reprehensible to incite white supremacist violence across this country. And so we are literally dealing with a group of people who are so confident that they are correct in what is objectively evil. Okay? I'm sorry for raising my voice, but for people who like to sit back as if they're some type of erudite, more reasonable and rational than thou, and that really kids just all settle down because conservatives are not as bad as Democrats and progressives think, and progressives are not as bad as conservatives think, and if we all just sit at the table of kumbaya, everything. Meanwhile, they are running us over in the streets, and they are shooting us, killing 2 protesters in Kenosha, and now they raised $1.5 million to help him out, Kyle Rittenhouse. They are using their vehicles to plow us down in the streets. And you want us to draw some type of equivalence and say our fight is the same as their fight. They're not wrong. We're not wrong. We're all the same. Absolutely the hell not. I don't care if these people are willing to lay, like the man said in the clip, I'll die for that man. I'll die for that man. I don't care if they are confident in their support of Trump, even unto death. They're wrong. They're dead wrong. They cannot see clearly. They are deceived by their own bigotry. They are deceived by their own obsession with Donald Trump. They are deceived by their hyperpartisanship. They are deceived. And we are not the same. Because what we are fighting for, write it in the comment section if you know what I'm getting ready to say. What we are fighting for is morally good. It is just. It is noble. It is worthy. It is objectively good because we are fighting against the forced hysterectomies at these detention centers that they celebrate. Okay? Can we just have some common ground here? The fact that they celebrate these forced hysterectomies clearly delineates between what is good and what is evil. All right? So I don't care how they try to gaslight you and make you believe or second guess your moral compass. You are on the right path. And I don't care how many people like to sit back and say, oh, well, Ben is just doing the same thing. He's facilitating for the left what they do for the right. They are killing us on the right. They want to control your life on the right. Their definition of liberty is quite literally their freedom to control you. Their definition of liberty is their ability to control a woman's choice. Their ability to dictate who you can marry. That's how they define liberty. And so we are fundamentally different because we are not looking to oppress and push our decisions and our choices and our personal life. And we're not looking to control them. We're fighting so that we can be free for ourselves. Can everybody see the qualitative difference between it? They're fighting to control you. You're fighting to keep them from controlling you. And so our fights are fundamentally different. No matter how confident that they are right, They are fundamentally, objectively wrong. And I don't care if they're willing to sacrifice their lives to prove how right they are. They're dead wrong. All right. People see through the bullshit. Period. Exactly. I love it when I say I love it when I do these long, like, rants, and then I go and I see somebody has summed it up with 5 words. People see through the bullshit. However many that was. Let's get a couple more comments on the screen. See, here we go. Let's put Ruthie Marie Robinson Pinnock. Oh my gosh, you're crazy. Right? So for them, how am I going to tie this together? We have been so, no, not we. I got to use specific language. And actually, no, I'm gonna let that marinate for a second. I'm gonna come back to her in a minute. Let's get some more comments on the screen. Comments from Blackberry Rabbit says, loving the nightly streams, just showing support. Thank you so much for the support. Dragon First Squad, Squad First Class says infection. Michael Kern said, new member, really enjoy your narratology. Thank you so much. I have a new word in my vocabulary, narratology. I will most certainly be using it on a regular basis. Black Sky Blue Day says, this is for the 100 people that can't be reasoned with. Let's see, did I get like 100 downvotes or something? Let's see. Let's take a look at that. No, I just got 12. You must be talking about something else. We got 1,100 people on YouTube. Shout out to YouTube. Infinite Contest said, I won't pay for 45s traveling behind at all. Just Trish says, amen, hands up, hands up. Daryl Wright said, they got me 10 types of effed up. I was born on a Saturday, but I wasn't born yesterday. I love it. I love it. I love it. Let's go over here to pull some. This is Cold-Blooded Jonathan. Jonathan is from the same sort of town. I grew up in the same area as he did. I'm patiently waiting on the report that Rush Limbaugh has COVID positive too. Yeah. There's so much I want to say, but I don't. I want to get your comments in here. I'm gonna be quiet for a second. Let's get your comments in here. I saw a bunch of really good ones. This is a good one. How do you educate people on the fence? Okay. Thank you for that. Took L. You don't convince them by telling them that the other side is wrong. You convince them with the righteousness and the justness of our fight. What we are fighting for. I've narrowed it down to 5 things that I think are the baseline for what we should have in this country, quite frankly, what we should have across this world, because collectively we together create enough wealth for everyone to have these 5 things, no questions asked. This should be the baseline. Everyone should have a place to live. Everyone should have food to eat. Everyone should have education. Everyone should have clothing. And everyone should have a doctor. Those are the 5 things. I vary back and forth between clothes and a basic income. But those are 5 things that we collectively create enough wealth to make sure that everyone has that by our participation. Again, I want you to understand, you just watching this stream, me doing the stream, I don't get paid to do the stream except for what people donate in the super chats or whatever the case. These don't get monetized until afterwards. So even if we have like 3,000 people in here, I'm not getting paid for this specific time. You're not getting paid for this specific time, but we're generating wealth for Facebook, Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube. Okay. So your participation, you're not physically working. You're viewing and consuming content. Our participation generates wealth. That's number one. So if you don't do anything but consume content, you are generating wealth. And I want you to change your mind about all of this. Don't let people make it think that we're looking for an entitlement. Like we're saying, give me, give me. No, you are giving us what we are owed because we collectively together create this wealth. If you're nothing more than a content consumer, you are generating and participating in this wealth creation. Now let's go one step further. Do you work? Your labor generates far more wealth than they pay you. Otherwise, they wouldn't be paying you. So your participation, your labor creates wealth. Your consumption is the greatest generator of wealth, period. There is no Jeff Bezos without your consumption. There is no Walmart without your consumption. So through your participation, your labor, your consumption, you have just helped create all the wealth that we see, but it goes even further. Your taxes. I don't care if you get a tax refund at the end of the year, kiss my butt. I don't care what they say. You're still paying state, local taxes. You're still paying sales taxes. You're still paying fines and fees. You're still paying your tickets. You're paying your court fees. All of these are different. They're all different forms of taxes that help generate and sustain this government, which helps generate wealth. So through your consumption, through your participation, through your labor, through your consumption, and through your taxes, you have just done everything that they need you to do to help create all of this wealth. But what do we do with that wealth in this country? We say, not so fast. We're going to only pay you enough to keep living like a chicken without a head. We're only going to pay you enough to live paycheck to paycheck. If we pay you that much, we're going to, watch this, if you're a food service worker, a waitress or a waiter, we're going to pay you less than the minimum wage, and we are going to shift the burden of your salary not to the company that's making a profit off of your labor, but to the people who are consuming your labor, and that way the company can make more profits. Do you see how they did that capitalistic capitalistic judo? They shifted the weight from the company that's making the money to the people who are consuming. And so in all of these ways, you are creating the wealth on this planet. So if we're creating all this wealth, how dare we have a system that keeps us living at a bare base bottom of barely surviving? So to the person's comment, how do you convince the people on the fence? Just help them see what we're fighting for is simply right. It is just moral. It is simply just. It is righteous. It is objectively good. That if we as a collective society generate trillions of dollars of wealth every year, then we have no reason that every person in this country, and I would argue across the globe, shouldn't have a place to live, food to eat, the best education that everyone can have, all the way through college. You can argue whether it should be a universal basic income or clothes on your back, and a doctor. Let us go see a damn doctor. And we should have those things as a baseline of society because we simply can. And if we can, We can do those things and Jeff Bezos will still be a billionaire. We can do those things and Bill Gates will still be a billionaire. Billionaires can still be billionaires. And we can provide all of this because we're generating all of it. But instead, we're generating all of it. And what do they leave us with? Debt, stress, sickness, poverty, literally disease, viruses. They leave us with nothing because they see us as fodder. They see us as nothing but coal to be shoveled on their economic engines. And they just grind us to dust day in and day out. You are working and slaving and you can barely get ahead. So how do you convince somebody that's on the fence? You simply tell them that everything that you see, we all created together. And none of it could exist without all of us together. So if all of us together created, why are we not all together at least have a baseline of subsistence taken care of? We're not asking you to pay for us to go all the way to self-actualization on Maslow's hierarchy of need. What we're saying is that we together create enough wealth to make sure that the baseline is taken care of for everybody. All right. Let's get these super chats that I missed. Eric Swayze says, Ben with the good word. Anastasia Rose, Fitness says, have I watched The Social Dilemma? Any thoughts? I have a lot of thoughts on it. I will see when I can get it in because we're already at, how long are we here? Oh, we're only at an hour. I probably can get a little bit in. Amelia Terhune, love your content. Keep up the good fight. Thank you. Ekum on YouTube said, we don't get the compensation we deserve. We do not. Robert M. Hey now from Robert and Betty in North Hollywood. Is that North Hollywood, Florida or North Hollywood, California? Hello from Australia. Alice Love is in the house. Thank you so much, Alice, for being in the house. Over on Twitch, Jamer said, when the police expands fascism to that Trump supporter, he'll blame Antifa. Oh, yeah. They also said this motorcade is a flash super spreader event. Peach Bus says, shout out from H-Town, Ben. Thank you, Peach. H-Town is in the house. Jamer sent 100 bits. Oh, they're telling me 100 bits is $1. I'll take it. Shoot. Remember, everyone, please subscribe on YouTube no matter where you are. We're trying to get to 100,000 subscribers. I've been on here for 5 years and haven't hit 100,000 subscribers yet because I didn't do video content for a long time, so I can't blame anybody but me. Isleswitch 120, subscribe via Prime. Thank you. Smart Talk 94 gifted tier 1 sub to Southpaw Picker. Southpaw, is that a boxing Southpaw? Sherman 1964, subscribe with Prime. Thank you, Sherman. Mermanda for real, subscribe with Prime. I really appreciate that. CA70s cheered with 4 bits. Thank you so much. And Smack Talk gifted another tier 1 sub to 5i5. That is a tongue twister, but thank you. Let's get some more comments from across all the chats. Let's see what you guys are talking about. Infinite content. You should be at 1 million. You're one of the best out there. Well, Daryl, I appreciate it, man. You know what? I'm going to just be consistent and do my part. For the last 3 years, I've only done podcasts. And this is the year I finally got back into doing video and finally got back into doing the live stream. And I think we found a format that I absolutely love. You see, I absolutely love this format. I'm doing it 7 days a week. Did I miss another super chat? Nikki said, no. Yes, Nikki said, I missed my super chat, I think, from much earlier. If I did, my producers will find it and we will get it in there. Thank you for the heads up. Infinite Content said, let's get it to 1,000 likes. We have 1,000 people watching. We're at 791 likes on YouTube. Go on and hit that like button. Get it up there. Let's see if there are any other great questions. Let's see. Get this off screen. What do I say to green voters? Listen, I'll answer that. I think that's a good question. What do I say? Did it show up on screen? There it is. Ooh, got a good question from the super chat. I'll get that next. What do you say to green voters? Sean, I say two different things that are two totally different things. Number one, I would never yell at you for you following your conscience. That's number one. Because I can't, and the main reason I don't voter shame is because it doesn't work. Right? So if you want to convince somebody, you can't attack them. You got to have a conversation with them. So the number one thing I'm going to tell you is that I'm not going to shame you for whatever you decide to do. Here comes the second thing. This is not voter shaming. I'm just going to make my appeal. I think we really need to consider the threat analysis. Donald Trump is an existential threat. And what I mean by that is that if he wins, he is already consolidating power and inflaming the situation such that I believe that there's a possibility that there won't be an America when he's done with us. I don't have time for the people who don't see that thread. And I'm not talking about green voters. I'm talking about, quite frankly, my friend Glenn Greenwald. I can't really wiggle around this one without making it worse. So let me just call out my friend from The Intercept. Glenn, he's been on my show. I've been on his show a couple of times. I did some work with him back. If you want to see me at my biggest, like I was like out of breath big, was when I did a video series for The Intercept. You can find it on YouTube. I was uncomfortable big. I'm not fat shaming I couldn't do my job. But I only bring that up because I did that work with Glenn. I am friendly with Glenn, and I want to put all that out up front. I read a tweet from Glenn Greenwald today that said that he believes that Jair Bolsonaro in Brazil is a fascist, and he believes that Donald Trump has fascistic tendencies. But if I summarize his tweet correctly, what I believe I heard him say is that he believes that Bolsonaro in Brazil is actually trying to implement fascism in Brazil, whereas he doesn't believe that Donald Trump is trying to implement it here in the United States. And my response to that is, shut the hell up, because you're really missing the mark here, Glenn. And the reason I say you're missing the mark is because if you cannot see how he's using the Department of Justice to circumvent democracy, how he is stacking the courts with people who are committed to him and not the Constitution to circumvent our democracy, how he's inflaming the white militias, telling them to stand by so that they can intimidate voters. If you can't see that, then I can't help you. And for people who can't see the appropriate threat, I can't help you. But if you see the threat and you genuinely believe that what I'm saying is accurate and not hyperbole, then the threat assessment analysis would tell you that the very first thing that we have to do before we can do anything else for a progressive agenda is to get rid of Donald Trump. And for me, it's painful. It is difficult because there's a lot that Joe Biden, I just simply disagree with them on. But that's neither here nor there right now, because my threat assessment tells me that it is better for us to spend the next 4 years fighting a neoliberal like Joe Biden than to spend the next 4 years trying to salvage our democracy from a neo-fascist like Donald Trump. That's the threat assessment that I've made. If you agree with that threat assessment and you're a green voter, then I'll ask you to vote for Joe Biden. If you don't, no harm, no foul. Follow your heart. Sorry for crunching ice. I'm sorry. Hang on. I like this comment from Nash. I'm sorry, I got real country there. I'm crunching ice. Forgive me, y'all. Naturally, as people hear and see what they choose to, trust their minds are already made up. I agree. Lori is headed out. She said, thank you. Pleasure's mine. Thank you for spending time with me. This is a great question. Without the semi-slur in it, the Trumpists, I'm going to call them a Trumpist. Trump supporters, though, what do we do about them once Trump's gone? We save who we can. I don't think it's unreasonable. I don't think that they are unsalvageable. Some of them are. Some of them can't be reasoned with. I don't know that we should expend a lot of energy trying to reason with them. But I do think it's worthwhile to leave a clip, David and my producers, to clip this as an olive branch to any Trump supporter who may watch this. I don't think anyone in life is inevitably bad or inevitably wrong or inevitably evil. I think people lean into whatever was their first epiphany, whatever got to them first. Most of us inherited our politics just like we inherited religion. Very few people actually deviate from what they got from their parents. Now, you may redefine yourself, but you still usually find yourself somewhere within the parameters of your parents' politics or your parents' religion and faith. There are those who reject it and do the opposite. That happens more in terms of religion than it does in politics. Most of us inherited our parents' politics. So what got to them first shaped their world in a way that it became truth. What got to conservatives first shaped their world to where it became truth. It doesn't make them inherently bad, inherently evil, or inherently. And quite frankly, can I just say this for the record? What we believe doesn't make us inherently good. I think it's important for us to do a chin check for ourselves and say that what we do and what we believe doesn't inherently make us good. I do believe what we're fighting for is inherently good. It's totally different because I have the capacity to be just as malevolent and vicious and bigoted. Like I constantly have to chin check myself on my remaining bigotries that I haven't successfully confronted. If I were to be fully transparent with you, I grew up in the Black Baptist church, so I grew up homophobic. And to be fair, I'm going to be honest with you. I can't even blame the black church. Totally. I blame the community, like just in school and stuff, like school in the 90s. Come on. It was like, it was a bigotry that I had to unlearn. Sexism. Still actively having to unlearn that. And it's cool. It's like, to me, it's not a big deal to do better. All right. It's not an affront to me to have to change my ways in order to not just accommodate somebody politically, but accommodate their humanity. It's not a big deal because it's not asking too much of me. And therein lies the rub. The real rub is, what do you do when you get confronted with your own failings? That's where the decision, that's where you are deciding whether you are going to be a good actor, a good faith actor, or a bad faith actor. Because when I was confronted with my homophobia, I could have made up every excuse in the world. I could have tried to justify it. I could have dug into my religious interpretations and just landed there and say, I don't ever want to be wrong. And because I don't want to be wrong, I have to make that person wrong. That's the rub. That's the friction. That's the delineating factor. And it doesn't matter if you're progressive or conservative, Green Party, Blue Party, it doesn't matter who you are. That's when you have to make on a case-by-case decision. That's when the universe is checking you out to see what you're really made of. Are you going to double down on the fact that I grew up homophobic, and because I don't want to confront that reality that I have this bigotry in me, which makes me wrong, if I don't want to confront that, then I'm going to do everything I possibly can to get away with it. And that means I have to prove that you're wrong. I have to justify everything that I do is right and convince you that everything that you do is wrong. And that's where we become bad faith actors. I know I'm going the long way around, but sometimes that's the only way to make the right point. Bad faith actors, those are our real enemies. Not someone because of what their political ideology that they inherited most likely from their parents. No. That you're not inherently wrong because you're conservative. I'm not inherently right because you can label me whatever you label me. What makes us right or wrong is at that decision point of when we're confronted with when we are actually the bad guy. My homophobia made me the bad guy in that exchange. Not in my entire life, right? I was still a good dude, but in that I was wrong. In my sexism, because I wasn't tall, I wasn't sexy, I wasn't getting all the girls that I wanted. I had a bitterness that most men have because of you being rejected. Now, I did pretty good, right? I was just still, if you don't get all the girls you want, then you develop this bitterness, and you have to decide, what are you going to do with that bitterness? Are you going to confront the fact that you're a bitter ass, Are you going to double down on it to protect yourself from having to confront yourself, which makes you a bad faith actor? Or are you going to sit back and release that thing, man? Let that thing go and be free of it. How do we convince conservatives? We just got to find those. We can't convince them. We have to find those conservatives, just like I have to find those progressives and those liberals. Because can I say one other thing? I'm not trying to draw false equivalencies here. Like at the core of what we're fighting for, it's fundamentally different. It is fundamentally different. We're fighting for what is good, right, just, noble. But there are some people who take those things that are good, just, noble, righteous, and all those 5 wonderful things that I said that are beautiful and aspirational and hopeful that makes us right. There are people on our side of the equation who take that as a brand, who take that as a financial opportunity. And they take that and they are bad faith actors for the right causes. And I know this because they're all around us. There are some bad faith progressives out there who would just as soon gut you and leave you politically disemboweled, financially disemboweled on the side of the road because it is their stepping stone to success. All right. So when I say a conservative is not inherently my enemy because of what they believe, what I'm also saying is that a progressive is not inherently my friend because this is what they say they believe. Our real enemies have nothing to do with political ideology. Our real enemies are the people who will not engage in good faith with us, who will sit down at the table, across the table from you, knowing they are wrong, knowing that what they said was wrong, knowing what they believe is wrong, but they will make every justification, every lie. If they will be willing to fight you, they will distort, they will use propaganda, they will use all their resources to protect themselves from having to admit that they were wrong. You show me a person who would never admit that they've been wrong, and they are our enemy. And you show me a person who could have been wrong their entire life, but they are willing to admit that they got some things wrong, they are our friend, and we could work with them. And I don't care what ideology they are. Let's get these super chats in here before we run out of time. The other way you convince them is invite them to this, to what we do here. I know my craft. I know what I'm doing. I know that I say a lot of things. Everything seems like it's a stream of consciousness. And it is. I don't have any scripts. I don't have anything in front of me. But what I do have is a lot of time thinking about these things. I've thought these things through clearly. And I've taken the time to, use I'm a wordsmith, and I arrange sentences to be as precise as I possibly can. And I say that to say, if you bring them here and they keep coming, we'll win them. Let's go to the shout outs. El Cha 77 subscriber Prime. Cheers, my friend. This is just water. Anastasia Rose cheered with some bits. I appreciate that. Stark Ultron. Love it. Avengers 2 reference. Well, you know what I mean. Thank you for becoming a Prime member on Twitch. Anastasia Rose is out there cheering with all those bits. Caffeine Snaps subscribed at Tier 1. And Chub Nation 13 subscribed with Prime. Let's go. Let's get all of these. A lot of super chats on YouTube. Jagging Squad gave me a super sticker saying with a fist bump. Kimberly McNaught said, "How do we successfully combat bad faith actors?" Wow. I don't know if I answered that, but we just got through talking about that. So, Nikki, here is the one I missed. Thank you, Nikki. We did miss it. Much appreciated. I was wondering what Ben is thinking. Ben thinks is the probability that Trump's doctors would lie about the whole situation, him being sick, if he actually isn't. There is one of the doctors there is from Trump's team. That's the one that's doing all the announcing. He's not a doctor. There's two groups there. There are the Walter Reed Hospital doctors, and then there's Trump's doctor that is a part of his political team. And that's the one that's doing all the talking. And that, I think that'll explain it more. That yes, he's trying to lie. Lonely Soul said, please vote for Biden. It's the only responsible thing to do. Please don't listen to Jimmy Dore and his clones. Listen to that person. Ron said, this is going to be a tough question. What are your thoughts on the new black media likes like Jason Black and Professor Black Truth? I honestly do not know Jason Black or Professor Black Truth, so I apologize. I'm not able to answer that question, and but if you want to send me some links, I'll definitely check them out and come back to you and answer that another time. Robert M. said, as Michael Brooks said, be ruthless with systems, kind to people. Yes, I always put an addendum there. Michael was not wrong. He was right, but we got to put an addendum there. Everything that I just said about sitting across the table with people who think that we think are our enemies, what we're sitting across the table long enough to find out if they're going to be good faith actors. Now, my assumption is that you listening to me will always be good faith actors. I do my best to always be a good faith actor, and I put it that way because I've actually identified some places in my life that even right now, I'm not a good faith actor. Now, it's got nothing to do with politics. I'm pretty clean in politics, and I ain't gonna tell you all my business. But wherever you are sitting across the table with somebody else, it is a negotiation. I don't care if it's in your work. I don't care if it's in your relationships. I don't care if it's in politics. The negotiation is multi-tiered. And it is, the first thing is, what is the intention of the person sitting across the table from you? Are they sitting across the table to engage in good faith? Because if they're sitting across the table to engage in good faith, you can actually invest time. You can sit there and negotiate. You can sit there and debate, because if they're there in good faith and the debate reveals that they are wrong, then they will accept that and they will change their ways. But you don't really know that until you have sat down with them. what we have to do, I don't know if what I'm getting ready to say is right, and I don't think I've actually thought this through far enough. But there needs to be a political price to pay when we discover that somebody has sat across the table with us, and from the very beginning, their intention was to engage in bad faith. We need to, when we are kind to people and we are ruthless to institutions, we need to, as kind people, be willing to cut off that kindness when we come in contact with somebody who has made it clear to us that they never had any intention in engaging in good faith with us from the beginning. When we get that type of person, I feel we have no more moral obligation to be kind to them whatsoever, and we need to be ruthless with them. That's the addendum to Michael Brooks' statement. We can be kind to people, but when people have demonstrated that they had no intention of dealing with you in good faith in the first place, our obligation to be kind is off the table, and we need to make them pay a political price. It's like being in a relationship. You gave everything to that man. You gave everything to that woman. You were honest when you didn't even have to be. And you come to find out that everything they told you from the beginning was a lie to get what they wanted to get from you, whatever that it was. You have no responsibility whatsoever to continue being kind to that person. In fact, it is in your own self-preservation best interest for you to get up from that table, flip that table over, never come back to that table, because it's not your responsibility to save that person when they're trying to destroy you. It has to be the same exact thing in these political negotiations. So I will sit down with a conservative any day, and I will expend the energy to sit down and talk to them in good faith. And if we come down and they show me something that I had not considered, and I'm given an opportunity to make a decision, I had never considered this, here's the evidence shows me that I'm wrong, I'm willing to change my mind based on the evidence. A bad faith actor wants to change the evidence based on what's in their mind. And when you come across that type of person, walk away, because being cruel to them might get you in trouble. And I have that energy because there are so many people around us who are engaging in bad faith in every single political category, in the Democratic Party, in the Republican Party, in the progressive movement, in the Bernie Sanders movement. Everywhere you have bad faith actors. And what I'm saying is, we take our time to see who's going to engage in good faith. But once they burn that bridge, you burn that bridge, and you're not getting a second chance to come back. Because we can't waste we don't have time to waste. We got an environment to save. We got climate disaster that's impending. We don't have time for people who want to change the facts of climate change just so they can serve their political and economic purposes. We got to flip that table over and stop negotiating with them and be cruel. We have to be politically Machiavellian with people who would deceive us and gaslight us and waste our time when we are facing climate disaster. That's why I say it's a little different than Michael Brooks. It's not that Michael was wrong at all. Michael was right. Be cruel to institutions, kind to people. Here's my addendum. When you can be kind, be kind. When you can't, take no prisoners. All right. I got 6 minutes. It always get, Tammy, I'm fine. Listen. This is how I talk on my podcast. So, just so you know, my podcast every day has that level of intensity. So that's why I do this at night, so I can generally, but yeah, I did work my blood up a little bit. I got a little, but my pressure's fine. I'm good. Thank you though. Always and forever, Sauce 240. Much love to my friend. Let's see. Let me get all the shout outs that are left. I don't want to miss any. I love this one. Justice is the ultimate kindness. But I missed the name. I don't know. Still throw that one I just said. Throw it in the chat room for me because I missed their name. S. Allen said, I'm struggling with feeling schadenfreude towards Trump. I feel this is how Trump wins and controls by turning hate into joy. I see your dilemma, and I'll say this one really quickly. Here's the thing. This is a perfect example of just let the universe do what it's going to do. You don't have to revel in it, but justice would suggest that a man who's responsible for 205,000 deaths is himself would be a victim. So I don't get joy out of that. I just sit back and see the hands of justice in motion. Jonathan Tipton says, Ben, this is where good faith progressive community missed the fact that race is a primary motivator. It's the ultimate kindness to defeat that. Jonathan Tipton, you open up a can of worms that we would have to dig into a lot deeper, but I agree with you. Masha said, Ben, I'm going to share quotes from the stream in an article this week. I'll send it to you. Love your words and heart. Thank you. I appreciate that. Bethany said, I'm convinced my lifelong Republican dad to vote Bernie this year by making him read A People's History of the United States. He was just ignorant. Yeah. Yeah, listen, I think the real question is when you're confronted with new information, are you going to change your mind or are you going to try to change that information? Sorry, that was ghetto, that was country. But Nelson's Rudolph. I want to put this. I wish I could put this on the screen. She put a scripture in here. This is one of my favorite. Or they put it in here. Said, do not rejoice when your enemy falls, and do not let your heart be glad when he stumbles, lest the Lord see it and it displease him. Proverbs. It's not my favorite. There's another one that says, rejoice not over me when I stumble. Basically talking to my enemies, because in time I will rise up. So I thought that's what she put in there, but that's still a good one. Still a good one. Ben, I love to see you in the fifth column do a chat. Bo. Oh yeah, Bo is cool. Like we follow each other on Twitter now, and I guess I should just reach out to him. My producer's been saying that forever. I know he's throwing his hands up right now. Over on Twitch, they're saying we're almost there on that YouTube. Make sure that you subscribe over on YouTube, please. When the police expands fascism to that Trump supporter, he'll blame Antifa. That's from Jamer from earlier. So wait, COVID, this is from Roy Bling. So wait, COVID be on the news for months now, and Trump is just saying he just learned about it because he has it. This guy is who we call president. That's the most dangerous thing about that video, is that he's now asserting himself as the expert because he caught it. Like, how does that make you the expert? It makes you a moron. Nefti Barikwa said, this is what I call Trump neo-fascists. Not only fascists, they're more to Trump. I have 3 years calling Trump a neo-fascist. That's Nefti Barikwa again. Roy Bling said they can't be saved. They're too far gone. BDHU 2001, thank you for the content and insights. My pleasure. Roy Bling said, bitter ass. It's okay. You can say it. Well, sure. Okay. I mean, I guess so. Nefti Boricua. My mother told when I was 17, rather see you dead than live the religion we taught you. I don't have a relationship with my parents. That's interesting. Bell B, subscribe with Prime on Twitch. Thank you. Victoria Sweet, subscribe with Prime. Thank you. Peace is a verb. Love it. Say, Dixon, keep it going for another half hour. Well, you might go. What time is it now? 11:48. Maybe we just go for at least 12 more minutes. We'll go to midnight and call it. Let's see. No troll comments tonight. Interesting. Okay, I'm all caught up. Let's read your comments over here. Denise Coleman said, yes, keep it going. All right. How am I voting? What's the plan? I'm waiting on my hazmat suit to come in, but we're going to go vote early and in person. And we're going to catch it on a day. We're going to peek in. My gas mask on. I'm going to peek in. If it's empty, I'm going to run in. I'm going to vote. And then I'm going to run out, spray it down, hand it to my wife. I mean, I guess we'll buy 2 of them, but then I don't want to take the kids in. And then she can go in with the gas mask on, go vote. I'm doing the most because I take this thing seriously. You guys are having a deep conversation over there on Facebook. Listen, also, I want to say this. I have moderators. Facebook is making it a little difficult for me to add some more moderators because they haven't been able to find all the notifications. And we're just trying to add more moderators on all the platforms, Facebook, Twitch, and YouTube. Because we want to make it a good experience for you. But if somebody slips through the cracks, y'all know how to deal with them. Give them hell. I'm not even going to tell you to ignore them. Give them hell. And that way it will definitely be brought to our attention and we'll take care of them and we'll make sure we block them because I'm not going to do to you what I did to myself for the first 3 years on Twitter. On the first 3 years of Twitter, I refused to block anybody. And what I did was I argued with everybody. And I argued and I argued and I argued and I argued. And I mean, honestly, kind of is what built my audience on Twitter, to be quite honest with you. But then I just got to the point I'm like, man, I ain't got time for this no more. So I'm not going to do that to you. I don't expect you all to sit here and fight these trolls. But they're going to keep coming. And, until we can get them blocked, give them hell. And then we'll get them blocked. So you may have to sit through like one episode of them being there, but we'll get them. We'll get them. Ooh. Philip Perez said, what if the bad faith actors are your parents? Never wrong. Facts don't matter. They raised me otherwise until Fox News, Trump, right-wing propaganda. Whew. You gotta love them from a distance, man. I would never tell you to cut your parents off, but you also don't have to think of it this way. They're like, 50, 60, 70, depending on how old you are. Maybe they changed their ways to become Fox News viewers. But once they get a certain age, they're not going to change their ways. So don't lose your relationship with your parents. You can lose your relationship with your cousins and them over politics, but your parents is different. So just go win as many other people as you can. You're going to be hitting your head against the wall with your parents, and it's going to ruin your relationship, and you're not going to have your parents forever, and you don't want to hate them. So my suggestion to you, this is not a political suggestion, this is just like a real life suggestion, is to allow that space for y'all to not talk about it, to disagree about it, but just respectfully keep your distance, because you only get one set of parents and they're not going to be with you long, or forever rather. They might be with you long, but not forever. I hope they're with you for a very long time. Let me snatch that back. But they won't be with you forever. And our politics, they're so... See, the person who's told me about to watch my blood pressure, she was right. It's not worth it. It's not even worth that moment of me working up my anger. It's necessary sometimes, but it's not worth it. Because we're fighting over fictitious, my mouth, it doesn't work sometimes. We're fighting over fictitious concepts like money and wealth, when that's nothing more than an agreement between us. There's no inherent value in any of this except for our agreement, our social contract. So we're arguing over nothing. I'm from a small town in Louisiana. Now, truthfully, I'm from a lot of places. I'm going to tell you that I'm going to tell you that I'm from this town. I'm going to tell you from that town. It's because my father was a minister and we moved around all the time. One of the places I call home, one of the like 6 places I call home, is a small town in Franklinton, Louisiana, called Franklinton, Louisiana. And it's Washington Parish, and it's known for their fair, the Washington Parish Fair. And I was a little boy, and going to that fair used to be the biggest, absolute biggest experience of my life. I go to that fair now, or before COVID, and it is the smallest, most, it's just, I don't want to sit here with this wire sticking out. It's just not, it's not big. It's minute, it's minuscule. Like the swings. Anybody remember the swing ride at the fairs? When I was little, I looked at that and it looked like it was so high and it was so glorious and it was just amazing. And I look at it as an adult and it's nothing. It's really nothing. I was looking on Google Maps for the road that our family is known for in that city. It's called Harvey Road. My family line is the Harveys. And in our family, that road is important. The land that's around it, where my aunts and uncles and great aunts and stuff, we know they own this land, they own that plot. And so it's like a little community of descendants of Harveys. It is so important to my family. But it's not even on Google Maps. I had to find it by going up the road around the corner to the health department. Because I remember like the health department was where we used to make a right, and we make that right at the health department right by the funeral home, and we drive out to the country to Harvey Road where we would have our family reunion. But it's so small that it's not even on Google Maps. What am I saying? I'm saying the things that are so big to us, in the grand scheme of things, they're immaterial. It's not worth your relationship with your parents. Maybe your relationship with friends, because you could choose your friends, you can't choose your parents. If you lose a friend over politics, so be it. If you lose a cousin twice removed from, you just gotta block them on Twitter or Facebook, so be it. But you only get one set of parents. And I'm saying this to make a bigger picture of how small and infantile and just ridiculous American politics really is. Because just like that neighbor, that street that is so, like the fair was so big to me, and the land that we own and cousins own and stuff is so important and so big. When you zoom up to a 30,000 foot level or satellite level, right? You go even higher to the satellite level. It's so insignificant. It doesn't mean, it's just one little plot of land in one small city, in one state, in one country, on one planet, around one star, in one solar system, in one galaxy of 1 trillion galaxies. 1 trillion galaxies. I might be overkilling it with the trillion, but you get the picture. What we argue about here is so meaningless, but so important. And here's how we have to deal with it. We need to put it in perspective. It doesn't mean to take our eye off the ball. It doesn't mean that we don't pay attention to it, because how else are we going to conquer climate disaster? How else are we going to save ourselves unless we deal with the pettiness of our politics? So we do have to wade through the mud of the ground level issues. But we got to keep in mind the bigger picture, because otherwise we'll get so locked in to the ridiculousness of our politics that we will forget why we were fighting for it in the first place. And what will happen is the fight will become the thing. We're just fighting to fight. When the stuff we're fighting over is nothing more than fictitious agreements between us Wealth is nothing more than a fictitious agreement between us. We can do literally anything we want. We can create any society that we want. So if we have to engage, let's engage and fight the pettiness of our politics with the mindset of the bigger things that we can do, and never just engage in the pettiness of our politics simply for the schadenfreude and the sadistic nature of American politics. If we fight, let's fight so that we can break free of all those things that are out here to destroy us, ourselves, right? Break free of our greed, break free of our pettiness, break free of our inability to cooperate, break free of the bad faith actors. Matter of fact, break free of our own bad faith actions. Ascend, get higher, view it from a higher level. The fact that I couldn't see Franklinton, I couldn't see Harvey Road from a satellite level didn't make it any less meaningful. I still wanted to see my street. It was still important to me. I still wanted to be able to know that's my plot of land. That's where my family owns the land. Not, my extended family owns the land. Like, I wanted to know how to get home. So it's not to say that our politics aren't important, but once you look at it from a higher level, it puts it in perspective, and you realize that all this stuff that we're fighting against each other with, it is petty, but it is important. But just keep it in perspective. Just keep it in perspective. All right, folks, I did that. Did I do extra minutes? What time is it? On the dot, 12 o'clock on the dot. Let's read these last few super chats. Be sure to subscribe. The only thing good looking out for us is COVID-19 from Jonathan on YouTube. Y'all wildin'. January 2021. What's your direction for the Benjamin Dixon show? Probably more of this, because no matter what, we're going to need community, and we're going to need encouragement. Here's what, I'm not an inspirational speaker. I'm a fighter. And so we need to be able to be inspired in our fight. I will never give you platitudes about life that sound good. To me, that's just motivational speaking, and it has its place. For me, it's about putting into perspective the reason why we are fighting, so that we can continue to fight. And so after Inauguration Day, no matter who wins, we're still going to need to fight. And so I'm going to still be putting it into perspective, both on the low level of the pettiness of our politics. Let's deal with it, right? Let's see through the schadenfreude. Let's see through the propaganda. Let's see through the lies. Let's see through the games. But also, I want to bring you up and let's look at it from the satellite level so that we can have it in the proper perspective. I'm going to continue to do that in 2021. Kimberly Bernard, that's what I was asking. How successfully combat bad faith actors and neutralize their threat to progress? We got to fight them, right? When I say, and that's why I got so viscerally angry, because they're everywhere, right? But I think maybe the right answer, the more correct answer is, let's not worry about fighting them. Let's identify them and then move on. And let's find the good faith actors. And again, I define good faith actors as people when they're presented with information that is a challenge to their power. They don't try to change the information. They change themselves. That's a good faith actor. A bad faith actor is going to try to change the information that challenges their power. Ashley said, I effing love you, man. No mince, malice, just truth. No mince, no malice, just truth. Keep it up. Thank you, Ashley. I appreciate that. And Alice says, my parents are racist, homophobic, toxic, and more. Letting them go 11 years ago was the best thing I ever did. It was an act of self-care. And if it is at that level, you do what's best for you. Yeah. Yeah. Here's the last thing I'll say, and we all need to go to bed. I'm telling y'all, get some rest. We have no obligation to maintain the baggage of our parents. And good parents don't want you to maintain that baggage. me and my father, before he passed away, we had a lot of years of contention, of anger between us. Now, we still loved each other. We still spoke, but, you know, I was a young man trying to find my way in the world, and he was a man who was trying to do the best that he could with what he had to provide for his family the best way he knew how. And if you know me from these streams, you can see how that would clash with him. I was lucky enough to be able to apologize and get our relationship fixed before he passed away. Shortly before he passed away, we got our relationship fixed. But it still bothered me that I had so much tension with my dad up to the time that he died, basically. And it took me years. He died 15 years ago. And I promise you, I think it was this year or last. No, it was this year. That I finally realized that he wanted me to do better than him in every way imaginable. When you're young, you think you're competing against your parents. That was my mistake. My dad was never competing with me. My dad was just trying to survive this system. And he wanted me to outrun him. And it wasn't until I got that revelation that my parents, I mean, good parents, not all parents, but good parents, they're not there to shackle you with their baggage. They may not know how to process their baggage, but they're not there to put it on. Good parents. And what I'm saying is that we have no obligation to carry their baggage. Good parents want you to run free without their baggage, and they want you to go and outdo them. They want you to outperform them. It's probably 100 million different ways to define bad parents, but in this analogy, what I would say is that if they want to saddle you with that baggage and they actively want to do that, then you have no more obligation to receive it, and you have every right to separate yourself and set yourself free and run away from that baggage. I was blessed to have good parents and my mother's still alive. She's not interested in saddling me with her baggage. She's interested in me running as far as I possibly can. And that was my dad. That was my dad as well. So, folks, that's about it. Thank you. We still have about 1,300 people across all the platforms. Thank you so much for hanging out with us. And we'll keep doing this. We'll keep doing this as much as everybody wants to do it. Talk to you soon. Good night.